you said Senator Sifuna is sipping his tea gently, I thought perhaps that's the only thing he can do gently. The Speaker of the Senate and all the leaders that are here, the Senate family, let me ride on the already established protocols. I beg to greet you all good morning. Mr. Speaker, I too have a written speech, but allow me to speak out of my heart and abandon the drafted speech so that I get to reflect properly on the meaning and the placing of this gathering in this beautiful city of Naivasha. Mr. Speaker, sir, driving down to Naivasha this morning, I reflected on the Senate and the journey that has been for the last few years of the existence of this Senate, and thought about its place and the reason for existence. Mr. Speaker, I thought deeply and remembered that we could not perhaps have chosen a more apt location to have our conference than in this city of Naivasha, which is a home city of devolution, because when the 10th Parliament, midway through their term, just like us, retreated here, then as a unicameral house, to put the final coat of paint on our constitution, it was in this very city, perhaps in a hotel not very far from here, that they saw it fit that they grant the Senate of the Republic of Kenya the powers to nurture and uphold, defend, and ensure that devolution succeeds in Kenya. And therefore, reflecting from here, I hope, Mr. Speaker, that by the time we leave here, we will have asked ourselves whether we have lived up to the expectations of those gallant men and women who sat down in this city and saw that Kenya deserves perhaps what is arguably the best gift that this country has ever bequeathed itself since independence, in the form of devolution. Colleagues and the Senate family as a whole, I asked myself and would wish to challenge you into a reflection and perhaps some thought on who would you, if you're granted an opportunity, and ask who would you vote as perhaps the father or the mother of devolution in modern day Kenya. And I thought about many eminent Kenyans, people who made contribution. Of course, many politicians like myself would wish to claim that prize and think about we championed for this constitution and things like that. But my wandering post, when I thought about the life of one patriot, Dr. Crispin Odhiambo Bai, who paid with his own dear life for devolution to take root actually in this republic. When that gentleman chaired the subcommittee on devolution in the constitution-making process, it was because of his very firm views and his unwavering stand on what devolution portended for this republic that he finally breathed his last, because there are many people who did not wish to see devolution and the success and the promise that it had for this republic. There are many people who believed that we should have remained as one state where up to date in 2025 we'd still be haggling over only one budget. That is commitment. And I thought that perhaps we as the Fourth Senate must pray to God so deeply that he grants us that level of commitment to devolution and the desire to have it to succeed, so that in each of our working day, honorable speakers, members of staff and colleagues, we live up to that depth of commitment and belief in devolution to see it succeed in all our 47 devolved units. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, we as a family, we have a very difficult task ahead of us, because each and every day we receive complaints from Kenyans who remind us that as a Senate, it is our primary responsibility and duty to ensure that devolution succeeds. And I will not engage you in a discussion of whether it is succeeding or failing, because you know the answers. You know what we have done well and the areas that we need to improve on. The only thing that I pray for, Mr. Speaker, is a level of commitment that that patriot had in seeing that devolution succeeds in our country. Because, Mr. Speaker, each day when you drive down across the length and the breadth of this republic, you see the successes of devolution, but you also see the opportunity cost that continues to be lost in the form of reports that come to our house from CPIC, PAC, petitions, impeachment hearings, and you hear the gory stories of the things that goes on in our counties and ask yourself, can the Senate really stand up for devolution and think and reflect deeply that there are other Kenyans who are paid, including with their life, and say that while we may not necessarily have to pay with our life, what is it that we as an institution, Mr. Speaker, can do to ensure that 10, 15, 20 years down the line, people look back and say it was indeed in the fourth Senate that devolution finally found its place and cruised, succeeded, and set up this country on a trajectory on the trajectory of prosperity. Therefore, that's my call to reflection to all of you, colleague senators, this morning. I thank you, and may God bless you as we begin this conference.
Thank you so much, Senate Majority Leader. I'm so glad that you remembered Dr. Mbai, and I personally hope that this can be one of the Senates that can truly be focused about delivering the Article 6 mandate of delivering our consultative and cooperative devolved governance for delivery of services to the people of Kenya. I now wish to invite our Deputy Speaker, Senator Kathuri Murungi, to make his remarks, after which you will invite the Speaker to make his remarks. Thank you.
Right Honorable Speaker of the Senate, my colleagues, senators and leaders, and our very able staff, good morning. I want to just make two remarks because a lot have been said. The written speeches are almost the same, so I don't want to dwell on that. Actually, what was given by Senator for Nakuru County, Senator Tabitha, was sufficient enough to cover the whole session on these introductions. So she did it for us. I don't know even what the Honorable Speaker will be able to. That was a summary of everything. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to touch on two issues. As your deputy, on the plenary management, the conduct of our senators, and myself also included. So I want to first thank you most sincerely for managing our house very well and actually instilling discipline in the house. So far, so good, and I want to thank you. As your assistant, I want to comment on that and also to thank the senators. We started with some hiccups, but now I think we are on a very good highway, Senator Sifuna. We're on a highway that we're able to talk to one another and to discuss issues, including those which were raised by my colleague, Deputy Minority Leader, on controversial issues when we are debating. Number two is the management and performance of our committees, where I chair as the liaison chairperson. Let me say the issues that are released by the Minority Leader, by Senator Enoch Wambua, touches on the performance of the committees. It is through going to the committee work that maybe members travel in one vehicle. It is through doing all those things, committee work. And we have a full session, which we will be able to bring everything, all the challenges, yeah, and the strengths, the challenges, lessons learned, and maybe way forward where we want to be in the next 2.5 years. So I think that is a full session where we'll be able to converse and to discuss on all those matters touching on the committee. So I don't want to dwell on that at this level. So I want to inform the House that members, the senators who are here are more than 2/3, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the members. This is the first meeting this year, and we have almost 2/3 of the members present. So naomba tafadhali tuweke mkono vizuri, tupigie senators makofi ya kilo. Sio bando, anza hiyo. 1, 2, 3. Another one. Thank you, senators, for this commitment. I know Senate is a house of really able men and women who knows their work, and that is why they are here, so that we start in a good footing. Na ile mambo tutaongea hapa leo, unajua mahali nimetoka mimi niliambiwa wezi liambia tafadhali toka kisasa tukiwa wazee. Si ndio namna hiyo hata huko Kericho? Yes. So sasa siwezi kulia sasa. Niko na mambo mengi ya kusema lakini sitaki kusema sasa. We will have that opportunity to do that. Therefore, it is now my singular duty to invite my boss, the Right Honorable Speaker of the Senate, to give his remarks. Karibu Bwana Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Kathuri. Now, honorable senators, members of the Secretariat, good morning. Allow me to make my remarks, and just like the DS has said, you will note some bit of repetition. I don't know whether we only have one speech right in the entire Senate, but nevertheless, I have to do this. Very short remarks, just like my height. My remarks are equally short. Honorable Senators, the midterm assessment and planning retreat for the 4th session of the 13th Parliament is not just another gathering. It is an important moment in our legislative journey as senators. Indeed, it is an opportunity to reflect, strategize, and chart the path forward. Today, we stand at the halfway mark of our term, a point where history tells us that legislators either accelerate the impact or fall into inertia. The question before us is therefore crystal clear. What will the Senate be remembered for? Will we be remembered as a Senate that strengthened devolution, upheld accountability, and championed the interests of counties? Or will we be remembered as a Senate that let opportunities slip away? Our role, as enshrined in Article 96 of the Constitution, is clear. We are here to represent, protect, and defend the interests of counties and the governments. But beyond the constitutional text, our role is a calling, a duty to uphold the promise of devolution and to ensure that the dream of self-governance of our counties is not just a legal provision, but a lived reality for all Kenyans. For the past 3 sessions, we have passed critical legislation to guide county financing and intergovernmental relations. We have exercised oversight through plenary and committees. We have facilitated devolution by engaging county governments, the Council of Governors, and key stakeholders in the devolution space. But as we reflect on these successes, we must also acknowledge the gaps, shortfalls, challenges, and unfinished business. This 4th session presents us with a chance to solidify our legacy. The work we do now will determine how effectively the Senate will discharge its mandate, not just in this Parliament, but for years to come. Honorable Senators, devolution must be practical. It is about the roads we build, the hospitals we equip, the schools we improve, and the lives we change. That is why in this retreat, we must focus on legislation that directly impacts counties, especially financing and revenue sharing. The upcoming debate on the 4th basis for revenue allocation should not just be another routine discussion. It should be a defining moment in how resources are distributed fairly and equitably across the counties. strengthening Senate oversight by ensuring that devolution funds are used effectively and that corruption and misgovernance do not thrive in our county corridors. Enhancing intergovernmental relations, because the strength of our democracy is primarily determined by how effective our institutions work independently but in harmony. Dear colleagues, our work has not been without obstacles. We have seen instances where critical legislation affecting counties lags in implementation. We have also seen the budget allocation for the Senate remaining a contentious issue, adversely impacting on committees' work. We've also seen county governments continue to struggle with absorption of funds, late disbursements leading to disruption of essential services. The public perception of the Senate also needs strengthening. We must communicate our constitutional mandate and impact more effectively. As part of our renewed commitment and dedication to make the fourth session more impactful and rewarding, we must agree to slay the dragon of absenteeism, which, as witnessed in the past sessions, so often denied the House the requisite quorum to conduct its business. The same monster must be detrimental to key sessions, such as question time, statement time, in effect, denying Kenyans the opportunity to get answers to pressing governance issues. We must agree to put an end to this habit going forward. As we sit and engage over the next 2 days, let us remember this. They're not just debating policy. We are involved in the business of shaping Kenya's future. We must leave this treaty with clear resolutions. We must ensure that our deliberations translate into tangible action. We are duty-bound to sharpen our focus and undertake our responsibilities with renewed energy and commitment. The Senate is often referred as the upper house, but let us not allow ourselves to be seen as a ceremonial institution. We must continue to prove that we are a house of action, a results-oriented house, a house that is befitting of the high public regard and respect it commands and is responsive. Honorable Senators, let us make no mistake about what this retreat is and isn't. This retreat is not just about reflection. It is about reaffirming a commitment to the successful implementation of devolution and improved governance in our county governments. It is not just about discussion. It is about determining and prioritizing the laws and policies that will fundamentally shape Kenya for years to come. It is not just about the Senate of today. It is about our collective resolve to shape the legacy we will leave for prosperity. As Speaker of the Senate, I pledge my commitment to fostering unity, efficiency, and progress in our work. And on behalf of the Presidium, I pledge nothing short of impartiality and fairness in discharge of our duties as the Presidium. The Senate's success is Kenya's success. The strength of devolution is the strength of our democracy. Let us seize this opportunity to be on the right side of developmental history. In view of the weighty responsibilities in our hands, I call all of us to fully dedicate these 2 days to this retreat and participate in on the sessions till to the very end in order to maximize the envisaged gains and justify investments in this activity. We would wish to see full house for all the sessions. And I know that a request had been made that because of your other busy schedules, you'd wish to leave tomorrow, which is quite in order. But that will depend on whether we fully handle the business before us. If you're able to discharge and handle the business before us, even at the end of today, I may release you. So it's up to you to make sure that what has brought us here is handled effectively before we go back to our respective stations. With these few remarks, I declare this retreat officially open. And I wish all of us fruitful deliberations. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Better applause for the speaker, please. I now wish to invite the speaker and the leaders on the podium to take your seats in the plenary, and to invite Senator Sigei, chair for the next session, and the panelists for session 2 to come on stage. Thank you very much.